In 2014, if I had told you that Insomniac Games would become one of PlayStation's most important studios, you probably would have told your grandmother how dumb I am. After all, this was the team behind colorful platformers, fast-paced action games, over-the-top weapons, and light-hearted adventures. And then came Spider-Man 2018. And suddenly, Insomniac wasn't just another talented developer, they were PlayStation's golden child. Kinda like how MrBeast is to YouTube. They became the studio that dropped bangers, all hits, no misses. The studio that seemed capable of turning anything they touched into gold. But then, something strange happened. Spider-Man 2 was released. The reviews were fantastic, the sales were incredible, millions of players jumped into New York once again, and yet, despite all of this, a dark cloud seemed to be hanging around and forming around Insomniac's head. Conversations started to form about not whether Spider-Man 2 was bad, but because it had entangled itself in gender politics, uglification of characters, nerfing Peter Parker, and the list goes on. Players started seeing the patterns with Insomniac as they had become too predictable. This studio that had once felt unstoppable had started playing things a little too safe. They started relying on formulas that had already worked before, and for the first time in many years, people actually started to doubt them. Then Wolverine happened in the recently just concluded PlayStation State of Play. This wasn't a cinematic trailer, but an actual gameplay, and after watching it, I finally understand what Insomniac is trying to do. This is not another superhero game or a Spider-Man with claws. It is not even a safe version of Logan designed to appeal to everyone, kinda like how they did back on the PS2 console days. This is something else entirely. Something darker, uglier, and far more dangerous. That is why this isn't the same Wolverine. For years, Insomniac has built its reputation on momentum. Spider-Man was a massive success, and Miles Morales continued that success. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart showed us what the PlayStation 5 was truly capable of. Everything they touched seemed to work, but expectation is a funny thing. The higher they get, the harder they become to satisfy. Spider-Man 2 arrived carrying the weight of enormous hype. Players expected bigger set pieces, bigger villains, bigger emotional events, and while many people loved the game, others walked away feeling like something was missing. Not because the game was lacking in quality, but because it lacked surprise. The city was far too familiar and the structure was stale. Even some of the biggest story bits feel like they were following a path players had already seen before. For many fans, Spider-Man 2 wasn't disappointment, it was comfortable, and comfort is a dangerous thing in entertainment because audiences don't remember comfort, they remember risk, and they remember surprises. They remember the moment that make them lean forward and say, wait, hold on, are they actually going to do this? And this is exactly why Wolverine feels different. The first thing you notice isn't the claws, it is the atmosphere. Everything feels heavier, the environments feel dirtier, the violence feels more personal, and the world itself feels hostile. Spider-Man's New York is vibrant, alive, and hopeful. Even in its darkest moments, there's always sense that tomorrow can always be better. Wolverine's world doesn't feel like that, it is a total opposite. It feels exhausted, it feels like a place that has already lost something important, and Logan fits perfectly into this world because unlike Peter Parker, Wolverine isn't defined by hope, he is defined by scars. Every scar tells a story and every wound represents endless battle scars. This is what makes him fascinating and it is also what makes him terrifying. For most people, superheroes are built around wishful fulfillment. They want to swing through New York, they want to fly, some even want super strength, but Wolverine has always been different because if you really think about it, his abilities are horrifying. Imagine feeling every bullet, every stab wound, and every broken bone. Imagine experiencing pain that would kill a normal human being, then surviving over and over again, forever. People love talking about Wolverine's healing factor, but what they really talk about is what the healing factor actually means. It means pain without escape, pain without limits, pain without end, and every wound inflicted on him still hurts, but his body continues to heal. His memories don't, and after enough years, those memories start to become heavier than the adamantium attached to his skeleton. That's why Wolverine has always been one of Marvel's most tragic characters, not because he is weak, but because he cannot stop enduring. One of the smartest things about Wolverine's characters is that he is always fighting two battles, the battle in front of him and the battle inside of him. That is because beneath the hero, beneath the X-Men, and beneath the legend, there is still an animal, a creature that is built for violence, a weapon that was shaped by experiments, trauma, and decades of suffering. You see, most heroes fear losing, but Wolverine fears losing control, and that is what Insomniac seems to truly understand. While watching the gameplay reveal, Logan doesn't feel invincible. He feels dangerous, not just to his enemies, but to himself. Every fight looks brutal, every encounter feels desperate, and every slash feels like someone trying to survive rather than someone actually showing off. And this little distinction changes everything, because suddenly you're not watching a superhero, you are watching a man trying not to become a monster. The reason Wolverine has people excited isn't because of its graphics, although they actually look fantastic, don't get me wrong. It isn't even because of the animations, although they're impressive. And it definitely is not because Logan is popular, because he has been popular for decades. The reason people are actually excited is because this feels like a risk, a genuine risk, an explosive blockbuster game that doesn't seem interested in being universally comfortable. This is a game willing to embrace darker themes, a game willing to explore pain, violence, loss, and regret, and most importantly, consequences. For a studio coming off Spider-Man 2, that is exactly what needed to happen. Not another safe victory or familiar success, but something different and unexpected. Something capable of reminding players why they fell in love with Insomniac in the first place. Of course, none of these actually guarantees success. We've seen amazing trailers before, and we have seen incredible gameplay demos before, but time and time again, we have all been disappointed. Skepticism is healthy, especially after years of marketing promises, but the final game still has to deliver, the story has to work, and the combat has to evolve. The characters also have to matter, and the world has to justify its existence. Nothing is actually guaranteed, but after watching what Insomniac showed, I understand why people can't stop talking about it, because for the first time in a long time, they look unpredictable again. Maybe Wolverine will become another PlayStation masterpiece, maybe it won't. Maybe the skepticism surrounding Insomniac will prove justified, or maybe this game will remind everyone exactly why the studio earned its reputation in the first place. But after seeing Logan tear through enemies, drag himself through impossible situations, and stare down horrors that would break most people, one thing becomes clear. This isn't the same Wolverine we have seen 100 times before. This isn't a PG sanitized version designed to make everyone feel comfortable. This is a Wolverine shaped by pain, trauma, survival, and by the constant struggle between man and monster. Because beneath the claws and beneath the healing factor, beneath the legend, is a character who has spent his entire life enduring things no one should have to endure. That is what makes him compelling, human, and terrifying. Not because he is the strongest or the deadliest, but because no matter how much suffering the world throws at him, he keeps getting back up, and sometimes that is far scarier than any monster. But hey, that is just me. What did you think about the gameplay reveal? Do you think this will be another Spider-Man 2? Do you think there will be enough gender politics and enough sweet baby ink hand in the cookie jar? Let me know what you thought about everything in the comment section, as I'll be waiting down there for you guys. Please, if you enjoyed this video, kindly hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell icon so you can get notified when I upload videos like this, as I am trying to hit 1K subscribers by the end of this year. And until next time, peace and love.
Incredible.